and welcome to the MiBN podcast. Today we'll be talking about Independence Day. We just got home from watching it. I'm here with my good friend Dylan, my good friend Adam.
Bonjour.
And Travis.
Hello.
Yeah.
So, shall we begin?
Yeah, I guess. So should we just go, let's just go initial thoughts. Not a good movie.
I can definitely back you up.
And also like any audience who would be watching this wouldn't know, we're all fans of the original Independence Day movie.
Yeah, loved it.
Loved it.
It's like,
loved it. Like, I spent a summer watching that every day. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
I spent a summer when I was like 14 watching that every day. And eating toasted cheese sandwiches. It's the best. You know what I won't be doing this summer? Eating toasted cheese sandwiches on Independence Day 2. Yep. That shit can suck my dick.
Yeah.
Seriously, like, that film was just terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible.
The first one was like a big part of our childhood, and I don't think I don't think we have a bias going into reviewing the second movie. It's bad comparatively because it isn't our childhood being destroyed. It's just it
wasn't good.
The first one had like cheesy charm about it.
Yeah.
Like it had a B grade
Bit of
quality
heart.
about it. And it had a bit of heart, and it was the sentimentality was done with a softer hand. Like you got time to actually get into the characters.
Yeah.
This film, the whole film, the dialogue was just exposition. It was just, this is happening, this happened, this happens now.
This happened because
This happens. Oh, a bunch of characters die, but we're not going to talk about anything. This happened, the end.
Just so many characters to be introduced. You could have cut out half a dozen characters, and it would have been a better movie for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
I didn't care about anyone. I hated every character.
Even like,
Like-
I have a crush on Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
And there was a few moments where I was like, it seemed like Jeff Goldblum was in on the joke,
Yeah.
about it. Where I was like, yeah, he understands the tone a bit. But then there's other times where even here, I was like, it was probably more the dialogue because the script was pretty atrocious. Like, you're just like, I don't understand what's happening. I don't, like, what is the tone of this film? Like, people are dying, and it's really horrific, but you don't sit on any of that. And you try to make us feel something, and then you just make jokes a second later.
It was the joke per minute was off the scale. It felt like they tried to make kind of a thriller movie, like build all this suspense, like from the opening 2 minutes, you knew that there was going to be an alien invasion. Sweet, okay, cool, that's gonna happen, and then they spend 30 minutes just being like, there's going to be an alien invasion. just more signs, more indications, like, you know, more evidence to show that something might be happening in the near future, and we should be hesitant. And we got it. Just move on, get to the story. And my big gripe with it was, I don't know if this was an intentional. Well, it's not a bad theme to tackle, but like I don't know whether it was intentional or not. But it felt completely blanking. I mentioned to you guys earlier how as soon as I finished watching that movie, I had to Google the director and then look up all of his, like, pretty much I just want to know how old he was initially, because looking at all the characters, it was just riddled with old characters, and and then like trying to find purpose and meaning in their lives, and I couldn't help but feel as though the director was trying to project some sort of
insecurity.
Yeah, I guess, like just to continue to be relevant, because like so many characters did absolutely nothing and should not have been there, and then at the end of the day, they're just like they managed to like shine through amazingly somehow.
Yeah,
to contribute.
I disagree, to be honest. I didn't get that from that at all. I just thought it was like terrible fan service. He was trying to do fan service for all the old characters.
But he didn't,
because all the old characters that are old and like useless and trying to stay relevant, they're all characters from the original film.
But they're also like, their characters say in it there was something wrong with their character, as like society would say there was something wrong with that person.
How do you mean?
Well, I don't want to give too much away, but like, say
like the crazy behavior.
Yeah, the crazy behavior is irrational, yet in the end they're like, you know what, that crazy irrational person that's been irrational for the last 20 years, we should rely on them in the last 10 seconds to save the entire world. I don't think that would happen, regardless of whether they were amazing 20 years ago and they were amazing.
Like, we don't want to spoil, we're trying not to spoil anything, but there's some terrible moments where like, there was just this batshit insane. It's like someone who's been gone forever, someone who who's in a coma, who definitely
incapable.
shouldn't be in a coma. He's fucking dead.
Yeah.
That guy's dead. He's dead. He's not in a coma. He's fucking dead.
Yeah, he was dead.
He died in the first movie.
He was dead.
Like, I don't think there was anyone who was like, oh, that guy survived. You're like, no.
Yeah.
He fucking died.
Well,
Yeah.
I remember
That guy's dead.
when I was little, and
I can't stress it enough.
Yeah.
Roland Emmerich, if you're watching, that dude that you brought back is fucking dead.
You know, the,
And you're going to be like, oh, I spoiled a major... It's the fucking worst character from the first movie. It sucks. Like, the most unnecessary character. And he becomes like a pivotal plot point in this.
yeah, they couldn't get Will Smith, so they need to meet their quota of like characters that were in the original. So they're just like, that guy, he's available.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
You're like, no wonder I haven't seen them in anything ever again, ever.
Yeah. And the whole like what's his face's dad with the kids and a bus.
Oh,
There was a whole bunch of characters and a whole storyline that just didn't need to happen.
Oh, Jeff Goldblum's dad's character.
They added nothing.
Name.
Yeah.
Mr. Livingston.
If you
His
took
dad.
that completely out, would have been the exact same film.
There was a lot of unnecessary characters who did absolutely nothing.
Like, I get when people have stupid characters and then at the end they're like, oh, look how we wrote them in and they actually saved the day somehow right at the end because of something they did. They did nothing.
Why the fuck?
I think no fan service, 100%. Like honestly, like it does make sense. That had crossed my mind, but
But the kids
was-
in the first Independence Day, say, because that was drawing parallels to the kids that lived in the camper van. What's the guy's name? The dad who's drunk. I'm pilot.
Russell,
fly.
it was Russell. What's his name?
Yeah, that guy, his family.
What's his name? It's like the first name you see when the film starts.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to say Russell Brand, but Russell.
No,
Brand
it's
wasn't
definitely not.
the
We saw it and we
pilot.
both got excited, but I can't remember.
But yeah, that's there's
So
a,
the Randy-
there's a
Randy Quaid character,
Yeah,
Russell.
Randy. Yeah, there's a character set in the new movie that is drawing parallels to that family of kids in the first one, but the family of kids in the first one is relevant because they're related to Randy, whatever his name is, the fighter pilot, the crop duster guy.
Yeah, the die.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It dies, but so that makes sense that his family is a major part of the story. And it's all sad at the end when he flies into the spaceship and dies.
Oh, yeah,
and
in
it's
the first
you
one.
should be really
Yeah.
proud or whatever.
And then yeah,
See?
and then they tell that a very similar story again.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense because there's no connection with those kids in the car.
Yeah, and we don't connect with. I don't think we connect with anybody in this film
no.
at all. Well, and
Well, that's because they had too many characters.
Yeah,
they're
they-
trying to introduce too many characters, and they didn't have any time to give them any depth
yeah, that's a very
or
good point.
progress.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a trend in a lot of modern movies.
Yeah.
I could list a lot of modern movies that I don't know any of the characters' names, but
Yeah.
you think about movies like the very first Star Wars movie. It seems to go longer because it's, I don't know, the pacing's just more even, so you can learn the characters and how they work and stuff. Whereas movies these days, it's like, all right, sweet, there's an action scene, there's a little bit of dialogue, there's another action scene, there's something else talking about exposition or whatever, but you never learn enough about the characters, or if you do, it's boring because they're I don't know, they just drag it out and stuff.
It's shoot in. Like they tried to do this where they're in this film where they were like, oh, this is a sad backstory or this is an important moment, but you never built up to that. So there's no satisfaction from the payoff because
Also,
we never cared or invested in anything that was happening.
with the Hollywood cookie cutter story thing that they do all the time, cool, we need that really intense action, bit of action or drama within the 5 to 8 minute mark or whatever. Cool. How do we add character development to that? Cool. He's a rogue. He doesn't play by the rules.
Yeah.
They've just stolen the archetypes from the first film.
It's almost the same film, but worse.
It's like people who had issues with Star Wars The Force Awakens being a remake of A New Hope. This film should fucking I don't know,
That was such a good remake.
burnt
though.
in the be baptized in the fires of hell forever.
Did you say baptized in the fires of hell?
Yes.
Is that how it works?
I think that's the same.
Sure.
just stick to your guns.
I just said some words
Yeah.
just to see. I don't know. I'm that angry I can't think.
But it did look amazing.
Yeah, visually it was cool. It was cool. I
No,
wouldn't
it
say it was
looked-
visually
it looked-
amazing.
There were some awesome space fights, and there were some really cool laser guns, and some cool crashes, and it looked sick.
Yeah.
When it wanted to, it looked awesome.
Yeah, but I don't.
Bits in between. I feel
Well,
like we're
it's
going to
the
have
same-
the Superman
it's a s-
Batman argument
I
again.
kind of compare it to Transformers, where it kind of looks really cool, but the story sucks.
Yeah.
If you want to go and see a good movie, probably not this. But if
you wanna watch cool shit
if you want to
explode.
go see something that's visually stimulating, then watch porn.
But Yeah.
No, you don't,
Or Independence Day.
nobody else watches porn for the story. Just-
Which one will you feel dirtier after?
yeah.
Independence Day.
Yeah.
But it was just.
We did briefly chat before about the weird sound design or mastering or... See, I don't have a problem with the cinema because the cinema's brand new that we went to.
Yeah, but I also did notice that it was quite uneven.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was the cinema itself or it was the movie, but I did notice a couple of spots where it should have had certain, like, I don't know, like, you know how some movies has this, especially in like the starting credits when it's rolling over. I don't want to give any spoilers, but
I'm sure the credit sequence.
It's literally the opening scene, and you're kind of waiting for like this big like sound, this big production vibe, and it kind of just didn't.
Well,
it kind of just sat there with ominous tones.
all the underscore music I thought was really quiet.
Yeah,
as well.
it was.
Like,
It was just balanced.
so those
dialogue was super loud, and then the effects were really, really quiet in comparison. Like, you think... My favourite scene in the original Independence Day is when the laser first fires and, like, blows up.
The Empire State
the Empire,
Building.
it's
Or
just
the
some random
White
tower
House.
or whatever, and it blows up the White House as well. But, like, that sound effect, like the little pew, and it goes like...
Yeah.
That's such a sick, and it's so like synonymous with that film.
It was-
It's so big, but like they did some really
none-
big
none
like
of that
explosions in. Well, even when there was like big explosions and stuff, say in this movie, it was like they'd be talking, there'd be dialogue over the top of like the massive explosion, and the dialogue would be like up here. The explosion would be here, and the music would be here. I'm like, I can't hear what's actually
the
happening.
big thing, like, I think we're underestimating. The first film was fucking huge. Like, it launched
Yeah.
Will Smith's big blockbuster career and really put Roland Emmerich, like, properly on the map. I think before they made Stargate. That would have been before, and then maybe that was it. Like, in a big scale. Like, so Stargate saying, what's his name? Like, the first Independence Day is, like, visceral. Like, you still remember, like, I remember watching that for the first time and just being, like, blown away. My dad doesn't like movies and fucking loved that movie.
Yeah.
Because it was an experience. Like, the first film was worth going to the cinema for just because it was a cinema experience.
Yeah,
This was trying to be an experience, but it just wasn't an experience. So, like, some of the pitfalls that you might let go because you're like, you know, it's not the best movie I've ever seen, but I really enjoyed the experience.
Yeah. Also, that was before like every movie was all about destroying landmarks. Like nowadays, you can't watch a big action blockbuster without like, here's a landmark, watch it fall.
What did you?
they've pointed fun at
They
that.
made a joke of that, which I get,
yeah.
but you're breaking the fourth wall during a moment
There's a Jeff
when
Goldblum.
like billions of people just died.
Yeah.
Billions.
Yeah. They really need to fit those quips in as.
And
wherever
also then
can.
they throw, and then that destruction also then destroys another city, which doesn't make sense geographically. And I don't understand how they did it.
It was very
Yeah.
big.
That didn't make sense. Anyway, I'm getting frustrated.
But I feel like this is what I was saying to you before I let loose before. I think Independence Day is a product, like the first one is a product of its time.
yeah,
It was a
definitely.
really good kind of light-hearted action comedy with some heart in it.
Yeah, so it's cheesy heart though.
Yeah, cheesy heart. So it was really quite balanced, and that worked in the 90s. Now, you don't really get films that do that now. Like, the closest one would be, like, Guardians of the Galaxy, we talked about the other
Yeah.
day. So, like... But it's not the same mold, because Independence Day was quite dark, the first one.
Yeah, it had
but
moments.
it still carried those lightness. Now, I think someone like Jeff Goldblum was kind of the jokey character of the entirety of Independence Day, the
Yeah.
first one.
Yeah, the first
and
one.
the same as Jurassic Park and stuff. He was kind of the irrational, loose cannon kind of thing. Whereas in this one, he was like their like top build kind of like pull for this movie. They're like, oh look, we got Jeff Goldblum back, and they're like, well, if he's going to be the main character, we need his role, his comic kind of relief role to be filled, and that's where the Joker minute kind of thing. They didn't know where to hit it. So like, you know what? Everyone's going to be kind of funny in this movie. So like, no one had a role anymore.
I legitimately think you could have made that film with 3 characters.
Yeah.
Like, there's
is
that
that?
many unnecessary characters in that film. Like, they don't play any roles. Jeff Goldblum didn't need to be in it.
Who was that guy?
Jeff Goldblum doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
He comes up with an idea, and it's
Actually,
like,
yeah,
that's it. But you're like, it's not even a good idea, really. like,
The idea didn't have the same gravitas.
gravitas.
Gravitas. How do you pronounce that word? Is that
Gravitas.
Gravitas? As
Yeah.
like the original when he came up with that idea,
Gravitas.
like it was just like
It's a Pokemon move.
Gravity.
what?
Gravel toss.
Is it oh yeah. It is. I was just like Gravitas is a Pokemon move. And it's like, I've been out of the game for too long. It's just like, yeah, cool. Let's just do this. And it was like that made that like
Nothing mattered in this film.
Yeah.
Like, I was just waiting for it to end because it was just like, yep, destruction. Yep, okay, now the final battle's gonna go for an hour.
I thought you were going to yell at the screen at one point.
I've never been like, just like.
We looked at each other a few
times where I'm so glad you're on the same page because I was watching it and I'm like, I really went into that wanting to, like, I really wanted to enjoy it. I didn't think that I would, but I really wanted to. And I went in like being like, no, I'm going to be positive about this.
Yeah.
And I tried. I really did try.
Yeah,
but 20 minutes in, I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, this is terrible. There's no setup at all. It's like we just walked in to halfway through a movie at some point because they don't really set up anything at the beginning. It's just like, something's happened. And then, it's so stupid. It doesn't make sense. Like, this isn't a spoiler. It happens at the very beginning, but they get a warning that they're coming back. We all know they're coming back. Like, and they
wouldn't be a film if they
one
were.
of something is they lose contact with someone.
Saturn,
They lose contact with Saturn. It's pretty early on. It's not a big deal. They don't react to it.
Yeah,
Instead, they have Celebration Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
They
weird.
already knew that they were coming, and they celebrate the day that they defeat them. It's fucking insane.
That is weird.
Like, they just like at the.
They're like, oh, we just lost a colony. That's fine.
Whereas at
Don't
least
worry about it.
like you'd think this film would be about them having learnt and be better. Also, the film contradicts itself. It says we live in peace and harmony, and then immediately the next scene they go and meet the guy, the private army, and he's like, "Be careful because they just kill people."
Oh yeah.
I was like, "What?
Yeah.
This doesn't make sense." And then he had 2 machetes for some reason, and he's
that was the
not.
whole
There's no
thing.
point for that character to be in the film at all either.
He was the token black guy.
He's just there. He was the replaceable. There was 2 black guys though.
Yeah, I know, but they had so many characters.
I think that was it. You count 2 black guys and 1 black
No, the
woman.
fact that they had like a
the black woman was
dozen
related to the
main
black
characters,
kid.
they needed to like distribute the color a bit more evenly. I think.
I don't know. It was just
Wasn't very
weird.
well
The
done.
characters
it
they
wasn't.
brought.
It was done for the sake of doing it. It was just like cool, but now we need this. No.
It was very cookie cutter. Like they just
was.
assembled. Like, all right, we need one of this, that. Oh, we got a film suite.
Yeah.
Do you though? You've got. Bits
I don't know.
of films.
I feel as though they completely missed what made the first one great. I made some notes. I'm going to check what I said, but like, there's a lot of stuff that they just didn't nail. Like, we understand, like, they didn't get the vibe, they didn't get the cheesiness or whatever. But the biggest thing was just like the first one was idiotic, but you bought into it by the way that they set it up and stuff.
Yeah.
This one was idiotic, but didn't even try to explain away the idiocy. Sorry, it was just like people make bad decisions. We're just going to move on to the next scene. But my biggest issue with this movie wasn't that I thought the story sucked. I thought the acting was. We haven't even spoken about the acting yet.
Yeah.
Now I think about it,
It was atrocious.
it was beyond atrocious. The chick that played Bill Pullman's daughter
Yep.
is it was terrible. And like, I don't know her name, and I'm just some dude who's talking.
Yeah.
So I'm not an actor. But holy fuck, was she shit? Like, you just didn't care about anything. Like,
Well, I think they're all bad, but I don't know. I don't know enough about acting either. But
I thought Liam Hemsworth was bad, but he was like the best of the worst.
Yeah.
But he was playing the same character we've seen in every action movie ever. The charming
He was playing
rogue.
Han Solo.
He's playing the charming rogue.
Yeah.
Which we've seen 100 million times.
I just pretty much sat there assuming that the reason the acting was so bad was because they had so little to work with. Like they were handed a script and they're just like, I have to put emotion into this.
Yeah, the script.
Like, how?
The script wasn't great. Well, but again, my biggest issue with the film, like the terrible acting, we'll come back to it. But my big issue was fucking just, it was like badly made. The editing was bad. The shots were bad.
Yeah.
Like the cinematography was average at times. Where you just
No, I agreed. Also, as you-
like it was poorly constructed.
like Dylan, when you said like how fucking, how great like some of the action scenes were and like visually stunning, but then coupled with that weird editing that you mentioned, like sometimes it's like a big explosion, big firefight, and then just like while this thing's exploding, just cut away. Like
Yeah.
just let me enjoy the explosion. Like just let it ring out. Like that's a big
Yeah.
thing that exploded. It's significant that exploded. No, it just like some of the cuts just felt really hard and sudden, as though like
there's one moment in particular.
Yeah, like
where
one
you
mo-
wanted to
it-
see that entire thing out, and it showed you like a second of it.
It's really jarring,
It was
some of
so jarring. I was just like, has someone gotten in the control booth and said, "Oh no, quick! There's a flash of a nipple somewhere, and we need to like, a hard
don't know.
cut
And
just
then-
to avoid it."
and yet-
like, what are you running away from?
There's a moment where you don't need to show the explosion when they first trigger the new weapon, and there's the guy in the car. He turns around and looks at it and stares for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Then turns around and decides to run.
Yeah,
You're like, as an audience, you don't need to show us this. Like,
Yeah.
you've obviously done a bad job of showing the attack. So now you're using this person's perspective to show us. But if he was a real person, he would have turned around and started running immediately.
Yeah.
Like, we sat there for 10 seconds looking at really nothing.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like really great eye candy. And then like moments that we need to have seen or should have seen to have some emotional resonance, you don't get shown. Like, yeah, like there was a lot of unceremonious deaths
Oh yeah.
to some pretty big characters that were just like, it's just disregarded. And then
Yeah.
the terrible acting doesn't help because you don't believe that they cared at all.
Yeah.
And that's a fair contrast to the first one, because like any time any like major player died in the first one, it was like devastating.
I
like,
still get like teary when the president's wife dies in the first one.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't, because I know what's happening and it's cheesy as shit. Especially when she's like, liar. Like,
Yeah.
it's terrible. It's cheesy, like it's cliched as, but the tone worked. I just don't think this got anywhere even close.
No. My favourite part was the reference to Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Little mirror scene. So
Yeah.
I think that was the highlight.
My favourite part was the credits.
Yeah.
We got to leave.
Well, we did. We had to sit there and wait.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
they turned the lights back on. They tricked us.
Everyone's like, it was a movie about people being orphans, too. Like, it's just.
Oh,
Yeah,
awesome.
which
Like,
they
it's
mentioned a lot, which
Yeah.
I get, because billions of people would have died during the first one, so 20 years ago or whatever. I don't know. So, yeah, it sucks
Was it-
as
was it-
orphans.
was
And I
it-
suppose it could be seen as a terrorism thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's an allegory for that. I don't think Roland Emmerich's that clever
Yeah, I don't think they went for
or
it.
that deep with these films.
Or if he did go for it, he didn't do a very good job of conveying it. But just so like, was it supposed to be this whole like, hey, cool, it's a new, refreshing like reboot. Like, we're going to focus on the young now, and like and the young who have experienced the loss of the generations before them, and how they're going to go into the next world. But it if that's what he was trying to do, he didn't do a very good job of conveying it.
I think he was trying to show more like uniting against and uniting because of, rather than infighting and stuff, which he did quite well. It did look like a kind of almost utopian-y society, but again, it's utopian as a result of chaos, you know. So whether that's a good thing, it was a united under one banner. Kind
Again,
of
we're
thing.
getting far too into this. In the first film, it was America who saved the day, and everyone else was like arse-hats who just sat around waiting to be told what to do.
This one was still America
This-
Saves the Day.
yeah, but they
had
went-
a Chinese pilot
They went
as well.
and they showed more flags.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
showed the flags on
Yeah.
the back of some
Yeah,
spaceships.
like the world leaders were on a screen,
and like you
a
saw
couple
saw
times.
world leaders on the screen, and you
Yeah.
saw map dots.
But yeah,
But it was
calling
US
the shot.
was the main part.
Yeah.
And yet, isn't it nice? Oh, I can't speak about the ending. Oh.
Yeah,
Just
I keep like having to catch.
imagine the
myself
worst
from
ending you could have
spoilers.
imagined for an Independence Day, and then you're like, oh fuck, they trumped it. I didn't think it could be worse, but somehow they did. Oh, this awkward looking thing's coming to get me.
So, would you recommend it?
If you've seen Independence Day and you're like, you know what, I can't live my life without seeing the second Independence Day, probably go watch it. But if you don't want the first movie like ruined a little bit, I wouldn't watch it. And your average Joe, I probably wouldn't recommend it either.
Yeah, that's like, but even that sounds like you're not recommending it per se. That's just saying like, if you
Well, I mean,
you're
I'd-
like scratching at your arm, just go, I just need more. Like,
But if I hadn't seen it and you guys all hated it, I would still expect you to say, no, you should go see it because you liked the first one and you
Like,
understand the world.
I feel
and
like I'm
stuff.
going to recommend it on the base that it's so terrible you need to see this to believe it.
I actually, I'm
flip
with
side.
I'm with Trav that it's actually one of the worst big budget films I've ever seen, like ever.
And just for people who don't know, we literally saw it tonight and we came back straight away.
And so it's all
And-
very
and we're
fresh,
doing
and
this.
maybe it'll change, but
Yeah.
maybe I'll watch it again and be like, oh, that was actually pretty good.
I do.
So these feelings are quite...
Yeah, so
It's very raw.
take,
Yeah, it's
you know,
very
take
raw.
it. But it was, so maybe I'm saying that's a bit ridiculous.
But
But no, I stand by it. It was like just trash. I thought it was like trashy.
Yeah.
Thought it was trashy, and I thought some of the effects were great, but some of the CG with characters in front was disgusting.
it seems
like
to
a
me...
moment-
It seems to me they got the idea like 12 months ago. And they're like, let's just smash it out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
That's
no,
what it seems to me. They
like-
rushed it like...
12 months ago, there's like, oh shit, 20 years. Like that's such a good time frame.
let's do it. Yeah. Oh wait, we missed the release by a year, but
Oh, bugger.
we'll still go for it. Damn it. So 21 years it should have been.
And they threw in that it was a very side note that they're like, oh yeah, it's Independence Day right now as well, by the way. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And they just kept going with it. It wasn't like the first one was like, it's Independence, like they made a big deal of it being Independence Day. I think there was like like a line in passing in this film that actually said it was Independence Day.
Yeah, and Bill Pullman's amazing speech.
I actually, when he stepped up
my
to the
God.
podium, I was thinking they better not just try and do that amazing
Oh,
speech,
that-
like version 2. I'm like, they better not do
but
it.
they did before that.
after your
I mean, a bit
rendition.
after that. Sorry, they did.
Yeah.
A bit after they tried
hangar.
version 2. And look, I'm getting into spoiler theory, but it was to no one. I wanted to kill myself at the end of it. I didn't want to fight for the world.
Yeah, it was literally to like a dozen people who happened to be hanging out in the hangar at the time.
It was just like, but he was talking, he used the gravitas like it was
Yeah.
going to change the world like
Yeah.
the first one did. The first one felt like a real ragtag bunch of people just got together and managed to save the day.
He was like lecturing a janitor this time.
Yeah, the second one, I don't know, this one just had no heart. And no story, I don't think. There wasn't a story.
No.
The story was they came back. And,
Would you recommend it
No.
sorry.
No, I would not. I would not recommend it.
under any circumstance?
I would recommend it if I happen to have a copy of it and someone wanted to watch a movie and has already seen all the other movies that I happen to have on me.
Out of all the movies you've ever seen, and they've seen every single one.
We say it. Right.
one.
So I
I
wouldn't-
gone through my DVD collection. I'm just like, should I watch this? I'm just like, it's not a bad way to kill a couple hours. To be honest, like they're all, it's stupid, exploity, alien killing fun.
Where was I didn't
But,
see
like,
the fun
just-
part.
With the exploity alien killing, is,
Just know that you'll be very unsatisfied
yeah.
afterwards.
No, just don't even try to get invested in the characters, and just wait patiently for the character to the quotation marks character development scenes to pass on, and then you can watch
Wait
the
for the
exploity
poorly
bits.
cut
I
cool bits to happen.
Yeah, the explosion that you don't.
I understand
get
that
to
they're
quite
different
see.
mediums, but that's like saying, you just get a book and then you write boom on every page. You're like explosion,
Yeah.
explosion. This happened.
That's
Explosion.
why we have pictures in
End
books.
film. Or end the book. You're like, yeah, that was a good one. You're like, it was just. But the thing is, we say all this. I don't think I answered. I think everyone knows where I stand about recommending this. Don't see it. Definitely don't see it. I say all this. I'm going to go see the third one, which is the most hypocritical, pathetic thing ever. But I'm so committed now that I don't even want to see what happens.
It'll be a very different film, I
It
think.
will be.
Which is
Definitely.
totally fine because I don't want to see that again ever. So something different would be nice.
Yeah.
Hopefully it just doesn't get worse.
I could just.
It'll be a different kind of film.
We can't really talk about what the third one's.
Yeah,
gonna be
we
without
don't,
spoilers,
we
can
maybe will do a full in-depth spoiler cast at some point,
Well,
which we
yeah.
could get. There'd be so much juicy stuff to destroy.
Yeah.
Maybe in a week
Okay.
when we've all settled down. Rage has left.
Yeah. But for now, maybe we should wrap it up.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet.
It's
Thanks.
a solid 4 thumbs down.
This has been the.
Wait, we need more. Turn my leg upside down and put my
We
toe
can at least
down.
do 8 thumbs down.
Yeah. 8 thumbs down.
Sweet.
Such a shame.
Yeah.
It is.
Could've been
we
great.
were all expecting more. We had high hopes, but it just didn't.
We were expecting a movie.
We knew it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. Anyway, we've been the MiBN podcast. Thanks for listening. Have fun.
Have a good time.
We'll see you at some point.
Bye.
Bye.